Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. The video today I have is something that a lot of people were asking me is how do you write to somebody that is in prison? And we're talking about prison pen pals. So I'm gonna tell you how I found a pen pal. I'm gonna tell you what methods or what ways there are to find a person that is in prison that you may want to talk to, you may get along with, etc. What are the most safe ways of doing that, because that matters. And basically it works really well when both of you are feeling comfortable with each other. So let's get started. Alright, so we're talking about writing to a pen pal in a US prison. So as a disclaimer, I'm not here to glamorize or insult a prison system in this specific video. This is not to say anything like this is going to be the coolest experience you're going to have. I've seen those TikTok videos where they talk about young girls, 12, 13, even 15, writing to a prison pen pal or finding an inmate and even developing a relationship with them, a romantic relationship with them, and that horrifies me. I'm sorry, but if you are a teenager, turn this off right now. This is not okay. Not in my opinion. I'm a mom, I have a teenager. It's not okay somehow. However, for those of you that are interested in meeting somebody that is in the prison system, I'm going to help you do that in the right way. Okay, so we're gonna first do the introduction because I should have done that in the beginning. Hi, my name is Svetlana and this is my channel, Svetlana's Corner, where we talk about a lot of things, including prison pen pals. So I want you to do me a favor. I want you to hit that like button if you like the video. I want you to subscribe and ring that bell, because that really helps me out, and it is free for you to do that. It's a win-win, right? So do that right now, and then we're going to talk about this video or this topic. Okay, so writing to a pen pal in prison, and by the way, I brought notes because I don't want to forget anything. Sorry, you can see I'm at home, and this is not a fancy setup because I don't have a fancy setup. I'm just in front of my fireplace. So I brought notes. I'm going to make sure I don't miss anything I wanted to not miss. So there you go. I'm going to refer to those once in a while. So I'm looking over there because I'm doing that. Anyway, so there's reasons why people want to write to a prison pen pal. It's going to take me a while to say that. A prison pen pal. There we go. Okay, so as you guys know from my previous videos, or if you want me to talk about it in more details, I have found my very first prison pen pal by pure accident. It was definitely not something I was looking for. I was surprised when I found out that the person that I've been talking to for a while was actually an inmate, because I didn't know anything about the US prison system. Would I take it back? Oh God, no. Definitely no, definitely no. I mean, I found my closest friend that way, and ever since then I've had quite a few pen pals, so I found such amazing people. I would not take that back for the life of it. And I've seen this a lot out there, and I truly believe in that saying. I don't believe in bad people, I believe in bad choices. So there are great people out there. Some have made mistakes. I mean, we all do. If anybody out there says they've never made a mistake, you're lying. We know that. So people make bad choices. Do they not deserve a second chance? Of course they do. We all do. But there's also not good people out there. And I'm not just talking about prison. I'm talking about anywhere. I know some people that should be in prison and they're not. They're walking around. So I digress easily because I babble. Anyway, for those asking how to find a prison pen pal, there are safer ways so that you don't find that bad person, or you know how to walk away from that bad person. So that's what I want to help you do. So like I said, my way was completely accidental, but since then I have found some people I talk to. I mainly talk to guys, and it's not anything like that, not that kind of reason. I have reached out to some females and none have ever written me back. It happens. So I talk about male pen pals a lot, but it's not limited to that. Obviously, you can choose any pen pal you would like. Some people have different reasons. Some are curious about what prison is like. I know I am. I'm here. I'm talking about it. So I'm definitely curious about all the details about prison. Some people write to a specific person. They might have seen their case on TV, on YouTube, anywhere else, and they're curious. And that's a whole other topic. And most people, and I hope this is the reason you're reaching out, is that there's so many men and women that are alone. Trust me, I've known some that have committed suicide because they were that lonely. They literally have nobody to talk to. They're worried they will forget how to use English on a daily basis, how to write, whether it is handwriting or electronic messaging. They're afraid that they're going to forget that. They spend years not talking to anybody, and the guards don't count because that's not conversations. Those are very limited 2-word kind of sentences, if you call it that. So reaching out to somebody, it makes their day, their month, their year, it matters. It really does. I know many who say this was their window out. This is their lifeline. So if you are reaching out to somebody, please, I hope this is your main reason. I do. Like I said, my closest friend is an inmate. I wouldn't take that back for the world because, well, that's my closest friend, obviously. It has been an amazing experience for me for over 4 years now. And that is how it happened. Wasn't meant to, but it happened. All right, so back to you guys. Okay, so the question was, I decided to search for a pen pal. Give me some tips to keep in mind. So let's go through some tips before I show you different ways of finding the right pen pal and doing it safely. So first of all, you want to remember something that some do not think about. How does that person receive mail? I mean, you guys might think, oh God, I got a mailbox. That's where my mail comes in. Easy enough. And not so easy, right? I mean, there's a letter. It doesn't just arrive in that inmate's mailbox. So you want to know specifically, because every prison, every facility, even every inmate, the rules might be different. So you want to know how they receive that mail and how you want to send it, because that might matter to you. So some facilities do a printout. So you write your letter, they will take your letter, they will print it out in black and white, and that inmate will receive the printed out black and white letter. They don't get the original. They don't get your envelope, they don't get the original, they just get the copy. So if you're sending a picture, that is how they will get that black and white printout. Some have what they call tablets or kiosks. So tablets is when they actually have like a little tablet and they can read and write messages. Some can receive messages, but they can't send them. Some have to only have so many messages. You have to be approved on their list. Those are different rules for every person, every facility. Some do not have a tablet, but they have to go to a kiosk. So they have so much time, let's say 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes every 4 days, 20 minutes every week, where they can check mail and send mail. So that happens for many as well. And like I said, a lot of states are very strict on mail, so something to keep in mind. Your mail is not private. And that's something we'll touch on again. But mainly it is, how often do you want to write? How do you want to write? Keeping in mind how that person will receive your letter, that matters, and how often they can receive your letter. Pretty much everybody has access to mail. There are some exceptions. I know some that have cyber crimes. There might be a couple of different crimes. There could be a sex charge. Sometimes they could be restricted from sending and receiving mail. That's probably 1% of the population in the prison system at most. It doesn't happen often. So most of the time it is either the tablets, it is the kiosks, or it is the printouts. They do receive mail. Okay, so it's snail mail. There's a reason they call it snail mail. That's when you actually handwrite the letter and it takes forever. I have a snail. Well, actually my daughter has a snail in her fish tank. I can understand the word snail mail. And if you're international, if you're outside the United States, trust me, the word snail mail fits. So that's pretty much everybody can receive and send snail mail. But there are electronic communication as well. And so we'll go through that also. Now, the other point that I wanted to mention is what kind of a pen pal are you looking for? So just like you have a friend anywhere in the world, this is your friend out there. What kind of conversations do you want to have? What kind of a person are you looking for? Because if it's not somebody you're compatible with, you're wasting your time and money because you're sending mail. You're wasting their time and their money because guess what? They pay for their internet usage. I'm going to say the word internet. It's not actually internet, but they're paying for their electronic usage. They're paying for their envelopes. They're paying for their stamps. You don't want to waste it for them. Their time, their money, yours. And it doesn't work. It fades out. I've had that where you actually write to somebody and you just don't click. It fades out. So you want to find somebody you can see talking to on a long-term basis. At least I do. Hence, I'm in 4 years of talking to somebody or several somebodies. And going into that, you want to find somebody you're going to be compatible with, or you could see the potential in there. So for most people, if you're looking for platonic friendship, you're going to be looking for somebody who has maybe similar interests as you, anything like that. Some people are looking for prayer partners. Some are looking for advocacy or legal support. So they may not be looking for friendship. You might be talking about the weather or your household paint job or whatever that may be, your day-to-day stuff. You might be interested in deep conversations, but that person is looking at getting legal support, information about their legal case, or only exchanging prayer quotes, and you're not religious. It's not going to work, obviously, right? So just keeping that in mind, and I'm going to walk you through that, how to make sure that you notice those things and you mention those things. Some people are looking for a romantic relationship, and I think a lot of people go in saying, oh, it was just platonic, but romantic relationships do happen often. Whole different video, whole lot of subjects. There's so many of them out there, but let's just say it happens at least half the time, probably more. It's very easy to fall in love with a person that you developed a really close friendship with. It happens commonly. So if it's something you're looking for, be clear about it. Or if you're not looking for it, be clear about it, because that person might be looking for the opposite of what you are. Again, this is where communication is important, especially in the very beginning. I think communication is important anyway. Anyhow, also the type of communication you are looking to do and willing to do, because again, we're going into snail mail versus electronic. Some people are not comfortable doing electronic, and some prefer electronic because they don't want to wait 2-3 weeks to do it. I know for me, I do both. I like doing both. You know, I like the idea of getting that letter. Is there that person's personal handwriting? There's something tangible and special about it. So I love getting that letter. I've had letters, I've had drawings, Christmas cards. This is something I will show in time. Otherwise, this video will be several hours long. But I love that personal touch. But there's also electronic messaging, and I like that too, because I like being able to send a message and get an answer tomorrow, or in an hour, or in 2 hours, depending again on that facility, on that inmate, on that state. So something again to keep in mind. And man, my hair is not behaving today. One of those days. Oh well, this is not a look good message or video and I can't talk. So I'm going to take a drink. Okay, much better. So, all right, now I can talk. Let's talk about safety first. We want to talk about safety. So again, I'm going to say, please be 18 at least. I know many of us, and myself included, I was a very mature teenager. I was. And to this day, I'm still told that I was more of an adult when I was a teenager than most adults are now. I'm 42, by the way. Admitted it. But anyway, I'm 42, but you know, prison is a very, very frustrating, very difficult, very dark world to get into. And I don't think most teenagers are mature enough for that. And safety, it's not. You're not going to be safe in there because you don't know it. Not many know it. I don't want to sound judgmental, but I haven't found many teenagers that know what they're getting into. It just, unless you do know it, and I don't mean to come down on those who do, but those who know that world know what I'm talking about. This is not something you take lightly. Prison is a difficult time. People are struggling in prison. They are starving in prison. Their rights are taken away in prison. The last thing you want to do is think that this is fun and games. It's not. It's not something to do for fun as a teenager. Go to the mall. Put on a mask. Go to the mall. Okay? I want to get this out there. I'm usually not a judgmental person, but I do think that there's a time and place, and this is not it. So here's the thing. Privacy is important. It is important for you. It is important for that inmate. So that is a very big thing people forget about. When you send your letters, they're not private. When you receive your letters, they're not private. Everything that goes into the prison or comes out of prison gets to be seen. So if you're sending a picture of yourself, the guards, also known as COs, that are opening that envelope, they will read your letter. They usually scan it because they don't have time to read 5,000 letters a day, but sometimes they do read the full letter. That inmate gets to read the letter. Sometimes it gets stolen, and many people get to read that letter. I'm gonna go into that in a little bit. So privacy is not something that exists in prison. So keep that in mind. When you're writing letters, make sure you check with the person you're talking to. How much privacy do they get? But when your letter does arrive to the prison, it doesn't come in that sealed envelope. It's going to be torn open, and it is read before that person you're writing to is going to read it. Your pictures, anything like that, will be looked at. So get used to that. Inmates don't have privacy, neither will you. When they send you that letter, for most prisons, it's read before they send it out. Or at least it's very well scanned through. So the amount of privacy varies, but there's still no privacy. There's no such thing. Some people worry about scams. Scams happen. They do. There's good people, there's bad people out there. So I personally actually know somebody, when his wife writes him letters, he hides them, and he actually hides his wife's information because other inmates steal it. That sounds bad, but again, it happens. I'm not giving you all these worst case scenarios because I want to make sure that you understand that this is something that happens. So other inmates may steal that person's information. Why do they do that? Photos can be sold. Photos can be used for personal reasons. Just like information can be sold or used for personal reasons. Some of those guys are lonely enough, and I shouldn't say guys, some of the men and women are lonely enough where they hold on to those photos because that's something that they can have. Because they don't have somebody they can talk to, they just hold on to those photos. Some, however, do sell photos. Your picture can get copied and sold all over the prison. And that happens. So again, like I said, I've talked to this one person who makes sure that his wife's letters are kept very hidden from everybody else in there. So again, privacy is a very big luxury that you do not get in prison. And there's other scams that happen. But we're going to talk about red flags in a different video. I actually have that in mind. I want to have a red flags video. For most of it, what I found is you need to have boundaries, and that's important no matter what you do in life. Boundaries are your best friend. Anything you do, you want to make sure that you stick to your comfort level, your boundaries. So I'll talk more about those red flags, like I said, in a different video, but make sure that you're clear about what you're comfortable with, what your boundaries are. If you decide to change your mind, great. But make sure you stick to your boundaries if you want your comfort level respected. And respect that other person's comfort level too. It's a two-way street. So some people, when they write to inmates, they use their real names. Some people use their fake names. There is a possibility in doing both. I have used my real name since the beginning of time. And there's more than one reason for that. First of all, my letters have gotten lost. Actually, they got sent to completely wrong address. Somebody did get my address. It went to the wrong inmate. You know what? To this day, nobody has knocked on my window or my door and showed up. And especially I feel a little bit, maybe there's a false sense of security, sorry, because I am in Canada, but I still haven't heard of anybody who had people show up at their door. It really, I mean, people have better things to do. Okay, I have never heard of that. Maybe it happens, and if somebody knows of something that happened, please put that in the comments. I would be curious, but it has never happened to me. And the other part of that is I like electronic communication as well. So when you use that, your name on that electronic communication, for example, I'm going to use the word JPay, and I'm going to explain what that is later. So on JPay, for example, my name has to match, my credit card name has to match what is on my envelope. If it doesn't, then it's going to get blocked. So I can't send email, or electronic mail, I should say, because it's not actually email, because it doesn't match. So I do use my real name, but that's me. Then I know some people have never used their real mail. That is up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. The same goes with phone calls. If you do get close to somebody enough, like I said, I talked to somebody by snail mail. I talked to that person by phone. I have talked to them by video. I need to have my real name because my ID and my credit card, and like I said, mostly my ID is in my real name because I don't have any fake IDs. Not anymore. Those days are way behind me. Yeah, not going into that. So those have to match in order for that person to be able to call you and for you to receive that call. So there's that. You can always get a P.O. box. I know many people who have a P.O. box. Just have it because they want to, but definitely for that reason. So if you don't want to give out your address, that's another way to go. All right, I'm just double checking my notes here. So I did talk a little bit about communication, but let me touch on that again. So inmates communicate by snail mail. We're calling it snail mail because it's a popular word for it. There is electronic messaging. So there's different ones. There's so many. There's JPay, there's Securus, there's Corlinks, there's GTL. I'm actually going to do a separate video on each one. Because trust me, it'll take me a full hour to do a video per system in details. So those will be coming after a bit. Probably next month I'm going to do a dedicated video to each system. It is a learning curve, or it is for me, even though I consider myself a pretty smart person. If you know me and you disagree, don't write that in the comments. Flattering comments are something I like. Anyway, I will have those videos for all you guys. There is something called jmail.cc. I think that's what it's called. I haven't tried that yet. It's sort of like you can rent a virtual P.O. box. So you send your letters or photos anywhere into the United States. And a lot of people have said that they've been using it. I haven't tried it, but apparently it works great. It works from your computer, from your phone, from your tablet. So I haven't tried it. I don't know how that works yet. I don't know if they scan your mail and that person gets it that way, and then they write back and you get it scanned so you don't actually see their handwriting. I might miss that. But it's supposed to be faster. I don't know. I don't know enough, so I don't want to go into that. I don't know about what that service is yet. I don't know what the fees are. I've heard good feedback about it, but I want to try it before I say anything about it. But if anybody has tried it, again, put that in the comments, because hey, we're on this journey together, right? We're all learning. So I would appreciate that knowledge. So once I try it, I'll do a video on that. But I won't go into that because I haven't tried it yet. See, I don't know everything, contrary to what some people believe, or at least my kids are young enough to believe. All right, so now we're gonna get to the topic at hand. Ready? Let's go. So finding a prison pen pal in United States. Oh, that's a big heading. So there's different ways that inmates are putting their information out there for you to find. That's what they're hoping, is for you to find it. And there's two most popular ways. So I'm going to go into each one of them in details, and I'll tell you which ones I like more and why. I've tried both of those methods. There's probably more, there's a lot more, but these are the most popular ones, and I've tried both, and I have my thoughts on that. And again, these are my thoughts, so for everybody else who has had experience, please put that in the comments. I love to hear your experience with this. All the ideas are always welcome. All the experiences are always welcome, because it's always interesting to see everybody else's journey on that. So the two ways that I have seen it is, one being a pen pal website. So just like dating sites, if anybody's been on it, I haven't, but I'm aware of it. This is where you pay to post your profile. It is expensive. Inmates actually do pay, and a friend of theirs or relative will post their profile out there. So it is expensive. And I've heard about costs, it's expensive, but it is out there. There's some popular ones called writeaprisoner.com. There's Penacon. There's other ones, but these are the two I can think of on the top of my head, and I'll show you how they work. And the second method is Facebook pages. Guys, we're in the world of social media. Social media is mostly free, at least for Facebook part of this. And again, somebody posts information about a friend or a relative of theirs looking for a pen pal. So let's look at them. I'm going to give you both of those, and you can see why I like or don't like certain things. Okay? All right, so we're going to go into one of the websites. Like I said, there's several where pen pals are posting their profiles, but I'm just going to choose writeaprisoner.com. We're going to click enter, and as you can see, there's an entire page of many profiles, a lot of them. So you can be busy for a couple of months, days, years to do that. But how about we do something like a search? Because I don't want to go through every single person, for example. Maybe I'm looking for somebody that has something specific. Like I said, here you can choose pen pal, somebody who's looking for counseling, educational, employment, housing, legal, art, blogs, poems. So somebody, for example, that would be looking for art, they have posted their art and etc. And you can see that anyway. I'm just looking for a pen pal here. Okay, so you can see there's inmate profiles, list an inmate. You can purchase inmate profile as a gift. So this is where somebody, I guess, would be setting up a profile for somebody. I have never done this, obviously, but I'm just looking through it. You can create an account. There's a reason I wouldn't, and I'll tell you that in a bit. So let's just do a search. That's what I would do. If I was doing a search, I would do a search. So for example, location, I don't know. I'm going to choose Washington just because it's the hardest to spell for me. I don't know why, but I will. Race, I don't know. Again, I'm going to go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. White. Okay, so we picked a white person. Again, this is not anything specific. Religion, let's go with non-denominational just because I didn't want to pick a religion. Sex, I'm going to go with male because it's the first one. I don't know. Again, I'm just giving a hypothetical here. So age, how about I go with somebody close to my age? Like I said, you guys know I'm 42. So I'm going to go with, I don't know, 42, 45. Something simple enough. We're going to scroll through 40 to 45 and search. So it's going to, I thought it was going to give me a lot more, but I guess it only gave me one person. As you can see, I got Mr. Ryan Simpson here. He's in Washington. He's 41. All right, so we got Ryan Simpson. This right here gives you his DOC number. This is his number. Every inmate has his Department of Corrections number. This is very important. We'll touch on that in a little bit. So you can see here, that person posts something about himself. In my case, of course, had to be my luck. It says, please stand by. He actually hasn't written anything yet. So this is a very new profile. This is where they post their photos. He only has the one, I'm assuming at this time. So this is a very new profile. So as a pen pal, we're going to take a look. Let's see. What does Ryan have? Okay, so about Ryan, it gives you his astrological sign, Sagittarius, willing to correspond outside of the U.S. Yes. So for me as an international person, this is important. Photo verified by writerprisoner.com. No. So people submit photos. This photo could have been from 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Again, you have to make sure you use your discretion here. So it's not verified, but it could be an old photo. His birthday is right here. He's 41. Brown eyes, brown hair. Obviously not a recent photo because he has no hair in here. Anyway, hometown. Marital status, states single. Again, we don't know when this profile was posted, so we know this is a new profile, so I'm assuming this is current. But if this profile was posted a year ago, he might not be single now. So that's something to keep in mind. Race, Caucasian. Religion, non-denominational, which is what I picked. Seeking prayer partners, no. Seeking legal help, no. So if I was looking for somebody for prayer partners, this would be important. Again, this fits into what I was looking for example. Sexual orientation, if this is important to you. He's straight. Institutional email, JPay. So then we know this is somebody who uses JPay. So profile starts on 12/27/21. So this is when the profile was posted. Like I said, information might not be so current, but that's when it was posted. We'll get back to the JPay because I'm going to show you this. Latest release date 2023. So he's going to be out in 2023 at the latest. On death row, no. I just wanted to highlight this part because writing to somebody on death row is a choice. Some people specifically want to write to somebody on death row. Some people don't care. For me personally, I do not write to somebody on death row. Again, that is a choice. It's just when somebody is on death row, people assume that this person will be executed and they might have appeal coming up and they won't be. So that's one possibility. But the reason I don't write to somebody on death row is because I don't know if I can handle getting to know someone, being that open close to a friend and then knowing that they died. I couldn't handle that. My emotions are not strong enough for that. I'm not looking to put my emotions through the ringer, so I don't write to anybody on death row. But that is a very personal choice. So to me, this one would be important. He was incarcerated in 2014, serving life sentence. No, again, life sentence is something that is a personal thing too. Somebody could have an appeal, so they may not necessarily be doing the entire life. Who knows? They might get out for whatever reason or another. Some people choose not to write to somebody doing life. They are looking for a romantic relationship. They don't want somebody who's doing life. I wouldn't care about this part, but again, that's a personal preference. This is something I want to bring to your attention. Incarcerated for, and it says see crime. When we click on it, it should pull up their crime, except for it tells you what they're currently incarcerated for, and that is possession of drugs, retail theft. Now, this doesn't look like a big crime. However, one thing I want to encourage all of you is to repeat the word Google several times. Google, Google, Google. It's your best friend, because this is a person who's doing time for drugs and theft at this moment. He could have been incarcerated before. He could have been in prison before that, once, twice, 10 times. We don't know that. So basically, that person could have been doing time for rape, for any offenses against children, whatever that may be. So you don't know that. I don't know that. So this is their current crime. And sometimes their crime is not even verified. I wish it was. I actually don't know how verified writeaprisoner.com does. I wish that I knew more about that. But from what I understand, it's not fully, completely, 100% for sure verified. And it does say here, we list the current reason for incarceration only. So if he did time before for something like assault on a female or something that rhymes with grape, I don't know YouTube policies, I don't want to say this, but something that rhymes with grape, I would not want to write to somebody like that. So this is where you want to Google that. So I would go do my own search. I would not rely on this. It's very easy to go to Google and get his information, and we can look him up. Just make sure that you're safe, because the crime that they're listed with, that is only their current crime. So you don't know what they have done time for before. And I want you to be very careful on that one. This is one main reason I don't like Write a Prisoner. Here's another one. Right here, we get contact Ryan now. So you can write a letter right here to Ryan Simpson. When we click on it, you have to log in to continue. I don't have an account here. But if you did have an account, this is where they want you to set up an account. Because how Write a Prisoner gets paid is inmates or their families or loved ones pay to put their profile on here. And then they also have to pay if they want to change their picture, if they want to update their information, etc. Some of them just, if they can't afford it, they let their profile just sit there until it expires. Hence, it could be a very old one. But this is a new profile. We don't worry about it. But the other way that they also make money by people going on their website. For you to set up an account, you're not an inmate, so it will be free. So you will put in an account here, and he will get that letter. One thing to keep in mind is you can write him through this once a month. I believe that is still the current policies of this website. My name is so-and-so. Here's my address. I was on the Write a Prisoner website. I saw your profile. I'd like to say hi, etc. And yeah, make sure you have your address on there so he can write you a handwritten letter back. Now, this will get printed out for him. They print this out, I believe, twice a month in Washington, maybe less. So I don't know when they will print it out. So he might get this in a week or in 2 weeks. He'll get a printout or whatever you said. And then he will reply to it. He will write you back a handwritten letter. So this will take some time. This is something I want to emphasize. It will take time. The biggest reason I don't like and do not recommend getting you to do your account here is that when you put your account, they will ask you for your email, for your home address, for your information. I think your birthday's even in there. I've never done an account, but it's pretty detailed. When they print out that letter, if your account is done, he may get quite a lot of information you don't want him to have. I don't remember what you get in terms of information. I've never done an account. Here we can log in and take a look. So create new account. So it'll have a lot of your information, and sometimes all of it may get printed for him. It shouldn't, but sometimes it does. So Ryan doesn't know me, and I don't necessarily want him to have all of this information, and sometimes mistakes happen, and he can get your entire thing here, your contact info, your phone number, your address. So if you're using a PO box, he may get your address whether you like it or not. So I would definitely not recommend you do it this way. That's just a tip from me to you. I just wouldn't do it that way. You can if you want to, but here's how I would do it. Now, so I have a profile at jpay.com. So all I could do is just add Ryan in here. To add him, it's very simple. All you have to do is put his state in there, and that's Washington, and his ID that we mentioned, the inmate ID. We're going to search for him, and there he comes up. Washington State Department, that's the right person. And now he is going to be in my JPay. So I'm just going to go back to home here, and I'm going to go to Ryan, and I'm going to send him an email right here. I can just send him an email and I'm done. So if you don't have JPay, I have JPay, so I will do that. But otherwise, you can always go right here. It says he's incarcerated in the Washington Department of Corrections. So you can go to inmate search on Google, and you can look it up and find out which facility it is, and it will give you the address to that facility, and you can just write him a handwritten letter directly to that facility. So that's what I would do if I was using writeaprisoner.com or any other prison Penpal website. So this is why I prefer to use Facebook. There's just so many pages, and you can actually look for a specific page. You can go into general one. So for example, if I prefer to use a core link system, not JPay, I mean I have JPay, but I also have core links. So I can go into here, core links, federal Penpals. And there's an entire page, you know, you just have to join the group, and there's an entire page here of inmates that are using core links system specifically. We're going to go to write an inmate penpal page. Let's see how many come up. There's a lot. There's a lot. There's, I think, probably 100 groups. I'm not exaggerating, but okay, so for example, you will see somebody posting. This is a person, I'm just looking at the very first one, somebody posting, this is a male stuck in quarantine with COVID. That's what they say about them. They're using JPay. Here's their ID number, so you can go on JPay and write to them. But they also put their address and a bit of an introduction. So you're looking at it, okay, my name is Andrew, 26 years old. Anyway, there's information about them. So if there is not a lot of information, because there's men, women, whatever that may be, if you want more information, this is why I like Facebook more. You can always just comment underneath, and just ask them is he willing to write overseas? What is his address if that person didn't post about them? Just ask them questions, basically. I know that when I post information about a pen pal, I would put a lot of information in, but I'm also happy to answer questions. Okay, we're back from all the computer stuff. Okay, so I know I gave you guys a lot of information, but, well, that's the whole point. So you can digest it at your own time. Oh, wow, it's dry in here. My whole skin is itchy. By the way, if you hear beeping, they're finally clearing the snow out there. So it's dry in here. There's snow being cleared outside. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, says Mr. Rogers. Anyway, going back to this because I'm in a weird mood today. So you've seen different ways. There's many, many others, but these are the two that I typically think are the most popular ones. Just my opinion. Everything I say is usually my opinion unless I say this is a fact. So I'm going to give you guys some tips here about writing to inmates that I didn't mention before because I want to wait to show you about different prisons, different ways of communicating, etc. But I have actually done a search on YouTube to see different videos about writing to an inmate. And there's about 5 people out there that talk about how you want to choose 3 or 4 inmates in the same prison, in the same facility, maybe even the ones that are cellies. Cellies are cellmates, by the way. They're roommates, not by choice, but they share a very small space. Not my comfort level, but anyway, this is a lot of people that are talking about how you want to find several people in that same prison that you want to talk to. And no. No. Did I say no? I said no, right? No. From everybody I've talked to, every inmate I've talked to, don't do that. You can, but I wouldn't. Here's why. Okay, for most inmates, they don't have the house that I have, or the freedom that you have, the privacy that we're entitled to. They don't have that. They share a very tiny amount of space with another person, sometimes with several people. And they also share that tiny amount of space with inmates. Prison's crowded. Prison is not fun. It's a dark world. We touched on that. This is the reason they're looking to talk to someone, to have that communication. So for most of these guys and girls, so men and women that are in the prison system, they have very limited amount of personal items. For most of them, they have whatever that they're wearing, a couple of personal items, and sometimes that's it. It's very rare that they have more than that. Some do. Some have even less than that. Some are struggling to even have the clothes that they're wearing. So most of them have like a box of stuff, and that's pretty much it. They don't have much stuff, trust me on that one. They don't. So whatever that they do have is so personal to them. It just is. I know that for most of the guys I talk to, they have kept every single letter I sent them, every email I've ever sent them. They hold on to them. It's a personal thing. It's a gift. It's very, very, I don't even have a word for it, so I'm not even going to come up with one. It's just personal. I'm going to keep repeating that. So you're looking at 2 people that get to share something personal, and it's the same thing. You can do it. Just make sure you're clear about it. Again, this is where boundaries come in. If you tell them, you know what, I am talking to other inmates. I might be even talking to one that you are sharing your cell with, or that you're in the same facility with. They'll tell you they're okay with it, because at least they know. But honestly, it's a lot better if you don't do it. There's so many facilities, so many prisons. You don't have to pick guys or girls from the same prison. It's just that territorial issue. I mean, it just really gets jumbled in there. And I actually laugh about it because some of them will refer to you as that's my girl, that's my guy, that's my something, even if you're not in a romantic relationship, because to them you are their person. It's not a disrespectful way. You are their person. You are a person that they trust, especially if you've been communicating for a while. You are somebody they trust, that they open up to, the way that they've never opened up to maybe anybody else out there. So those territorial things do come up, and they don't like sharing. They just don't. I don't like sharing. So maybe don't write to somebody in the same prison. I wouldn't. You might also keep in mind that within that same prison, there could be rival gangs, and people can get beat up. They can get killed over it. Things happen. Rival gangs, popular thing that happens in prison. Co-defendants. We forget that one. These guys have gone through a court system. So they might be using one person versus another to get information. You might not be aware of it. Or maybe they're not even aware that they're doing it. They get to find out about their case or somebody else's case through you, and none of you meant to do it. So no, I wouldn't do it. Trust me on this one. Just save yourself that headache. Make it easier on everybody else. There's many men and women that want somebody to communicate with. Do it the right way. And give yourself and that person safety and privacy. Or at least as much privacy as they can get. Okay, what else is in my notes? Let's see. Oh, this is important. I want you to listen to this because so many get this personally taken. Taken personally. My grammar's not on today. If the person you wrote to does not respond, it's not the end of the world. A bomb is the end of the world. This is not. Anybody listening to that? Because I've seen somebody cry because a person didn't respond. And just on a side note, I have found pen pals for a few guys in there. So I've seen some women cry because a guy didn't respond. No. Don't. So, but why do people not respond? It's not all about you. I know we all think the world's about us. Because I think this whole world is about me. Just kidding. It's not all about you. Okay? So, I actually have some of the notes why these guys said they don't respond. So some of them say, hey, we just didn't click. Again, it's not personal. You're thinking about it. You're spending money and time, which we talked about. They're spending money and time. And if they think that it's going to go nowhere, they just don't see the point, right? I mean, you only have a very minimum amount of funds. You don't want to spend it on a person you know it's going to go nowhere. You're going to stop talking eventually. They would rather talk to somebody that they are clicking with, and so would you, right? It's a two-way street. So move on. Find somebody else. Here's the other one that I've realized how many people did not think of. They didn't get your letter. I know it seems simple, right? They just didn't get your letter. Why that happens? Well, there's a postal delay. My birthday is in September for those of you taking notes. September 25 if you want to send me gifts. I like gifts. Anyway, this is coming into March here. Almost March. So whenever this video will get posted, it might be even later than that. But I just now got a few cards for my birthday because it happens. There's a delay in US Postal Service. There was a delay in Canada Postal Service. I don't know. There's a pandemic out there. Maybe there's an overflow. Maybe got taken time. I don't know. It doesn't happen that way a lot, but it happens. So I know that that person sent me a birthday card. They've asked me that. Did you get it? 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 I got it. Finally. Sometimes that's what I say. You know what? If you're sending me a card, maybe I'll get it this year or by next Christmas. Anyway, so there could be a postal delay. So sometimes they didn't get your letter. And also, talking about postal delay, if you're writing that snail mail, I mean, come on. If you're international like me, it's about 3 weeks for me to get a letter from Canada to US. So 3 weeks to get there. Now he's going to read it, he's going to answer. Even if he answers that same day and sends it the next day, that's another 3 weeks. So if I'm doing my math, that's 6 weeks. So even a few days delay, you're looking at 2 months, 3 months sometimes. So any delay could set that back. So don't worry about it. Give it time. There could be an address issue. Like I said, I've actually had a letter that went to completely different prison. It did get rerouted eventually and found its way to the right person. Actually, this was a funny story. The way it got rerouted is that the person who got it actually knew the person that was sending it to, because they served time together about 10 years ago. So he knew where to send it to. It was really weird, but it got rerouted and the person got it. And I'm really glad, because I didn't want to rewrite what I was saying. Anyway, it happens. It was once, but it happens. That inmate might have been transferred. Transferring is when they go from one prison to another. That happens for many reasons. That's not a topic for this video, but he might not be at that address anymore. Basically, it means he moved, and it might have been not his choice, and he has no way to tell you that. The other one is he got released. I mean, writer prisoner, that could have been there whatever time ago. He might not be at that prison anymore. He might have got out by then. He might have got out and got back into a different prison. You know, you don't know where he is. So that happens. And that means he'll never get that letter again. This is where you move on. And the final delay or reason it didn't get there is he could be in the hole. The hole is the shoe. It's the punishment unit. Let's put it that way. It's a specialized housing unit. This is, you know, if you've been a bad boy or bad girl, you go into a prison within a prison. Not a topic for this video. Anyway, if that person is in the hole, they may not be allowed any letters to and from. Most of the time, they're not allowed any communication in there, because they are in there with nothing but food. So anyway, they're not getting a letter for a while. They could be in the hole for 6 months. They could be in the hole for a year. Somebody's been in the hole for 11 years that I know. It normally not that long, but that's again different video. So I've had people that have been in the hole. So I got that letter a lot later saying, sorry, I went to the hole. It happens that way. There's one more reason that, let's see, how do I put that? He's not single. Now, I am getting these points from a male inmate, so she might not be single. So when they put their profile up there, especially when it is a website, that profile could have been 5 years ago. They were single then, they're not single now. So the fact that they didn't write to you is a compliment. That means that is a good person who wants to be faithful to his new spouse or his new girlfriend. They might break up and he'll be single in a month, I don't know that, but at this point, they're respecting their current relationship and not writing to you because they're being respectful. So again, this is a good time to move on, find somebody else. And my last point here is something that the inmates don't want to admit to, but it happens a lot. They can't afford it. I've gotten letters that were much, much later. It might have been almost a year later. They just didn't have money to pay for the stamps, the envelope, etc. They didn't have money at that time. We can do a topic on how much inmates make in prison, because they all have to work, but it is pennies. So they have to work a lot to afford that envelope and stamps and the paper. So maybe they were deciding, do I get food or do I get to write a letter? Sometimes food wins. Although I've seen some pick communication over food often. But that is a very difficult topic. Not many want to admit to it, but they might not be able to afford writing to you at that moment. They might write to you in a month. So again, give it time. If you don't hear from that person, write to somebody else. So with what I said, can I just give you one point that is coming from me? Don't ghost them. And I've learned this term recently. I'm not good with new terms sometimes. But ghosting, for those who are like me and don't know means, you kind of disappear. Hence the word ghost. Casper the friendly ghost. Anyway, don't be Casper, the friendly ghost. Don't disappear. I've heard this from guys over and over again, that they were writing to someone, they were talking to someone, everything was great, and then suddenly they never answered again. And I've talked to the women, and I said, oh, I just didn't feel like it anymore. Okay, but he's pouring out his heart to you. He told you the deepest, darkest secrets that nobody, not his mom, not his lawyer, nobody knows. And suddenly it got cut off. I mean, imagine how heartbreaking that is. Even if you're not in a romantic relationship, it hurts. And if that was done to you, it would hurt you too. So don't just ghost them. Give them a reason. I don't feel like doing this anymore, or, I've enjoyed writing to you, but I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to have a pen pal, but I wish you all the best. Whatever your reason is, just tell them, so they're not sitting there waiting for that letter. Because believe me, when they have mail call, they're waiting for that letter. They're hoping that every morning or whatever days they have mail call, they're hoping that there's that envelope for them. And it's not there. And every day feels like, oh, it's not for me. Oh, it's not for me. They're watching their cellie, their friends, their acquaintances, whatever you want to call them. They're watching others get that mail. And it's not for them. And if it's never coming, don't break their heart. Everybody deserves the truth. Everybody deserves to be treated with respect. We can't ask for respect without giving it back. So please don't ghost them. I've had to comfort a lot of guys. Trust me. Please don't do it. That's just honestly from me to you. That's a little bit of a pet peeve I have. But anyway, so that is all about finding a U.S. prison pen pal. So like I said, my next video is going to be writing your first letter. It's not as simple as getting your stationery and your envelope, and there you go. As you can tell, I do have stationery. That is not going to a prison. I just brought this out to show you. So that's going to be in the next one, because there are so many rules about writing that letter. But a lot of the ladies I've talked to said, what do I say in the first one anyway? So in the next one, we're going to cover the rules of snail mail and just ideas of what you could do, what you can say in your very first letter. Maybe your second one, maybe your third one. We'll touch on that. And then, like I said, I will do videos on the electronic messaging as well, and that will be coming up. So thank you guys for joining me. Again, I hope you subscribed. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments. I like to read them. Have you had a pen pal? Just a general pen pal. Have you had a pen pal in prison? What has been your experience in it? Leave those comments, because I love to read them, and I'm sure those watching this will love to read them too. Have a great day. Mwah.